All right. Hello, everybody. It's 11 o'clock Pacific time, which means it's time to get the party started. Good morning if you're on the West Coast, or afternoon if you're on the East Coast like Fernando. My name is Frank LePerry, and I want to welcome everyone to the Best of the Best webinar series brought to you by Novedge, the design software superstore. I want to thank all of you again for joining us today. We're really excited to not only present V-Ray for Rhino, but also to have Fernando going through it with us. If you're unfamiliar with Fernando, prior to joining ASGVIS, he made a name for himself as kind of one of the premier users of Rhino and all of its plugins. When he moved into using V-Ray, his talent immediately caught the attention of ASGVIS and joined their team early in 2008. Now he kind of pulls double duty, doing visualizing product design and also heading up the training division for V-Ray for Rhino as well as SketchUp. So that's why he's kind of the man with the plan and going to be presenting today. So just kind of give you a brief overview. He's going to be speaking and presenting for about 45 minutes. And then after that, we're going to open it back up for a Q&A session for about 10 or 15 minutes. So feel free to shoot all the questions that you have into the question box, and Fernando will get to them towards the end. Also, just so you know, before we actually get started here, a recording of this webinar, if you have to step away or whatever, will be available online after the webinar has completed today. So I'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the presentation. So with that, let's get it started. I'm going to turn it over to Fernando and get his screen going. All right, Fernando.
All right. Thank you, Frank.
No problem.
Hi, everybody. So basically, I'm going to show you how to use V-Ray. I have three basic scenes for you today. The first one is a studio setup to create or to render this recycle. The second scene is going to be, sorry, let me show you very quick. The second scene is going to be how to render a car. So this car is rendered in V-Ray, but the background as well is rendered in V-Ray. So I'm going to show you how to use an HDRI and how you can visualize the HDRI in the viewport using one MyCast techniques. And the next one is on an interior, an architectural interior. One of the reasons why I love V-Ray and why I started using V-Ray before I started with ASGVIS is that V-Ray give me the ability to work with interior, exterior, car, studio shot. Basically, I have freedom with V-Ray, and I love freedom. I can tie it to some settings, so I like to do whatever I want to do with the software. That is the reason why I love Rhino tool, because I have freedom. So saying that, the first thing that I want to do is create a studio floor in Rhino. There are different ways how you can create a studio floor, but I like to use a solid, like a cube. Then I select center, start from the center, and just in the top view create my studio block. Then once I have the block, I made the radius or the fillet. So I like to increase the size, then 18. So set all, 18. And actually, I want to do the same thing here, but it's too late. So let me select 18 there. Once I have the fillet, I want to extract those faces. Then I have my studio. Let me trim the studio because it's kind of big. Once I trim the studio, now I have the studio for my scene. Okay, I'd like to make a render right now to see what we have. All the material already applied. And so I just want to create the lights and the studio setup on the studio floor. So this is the render. Nothing cool. Actually, I don't have the material applied. I just have basic material. So let me create a material first. Here in the car pane, red, I'm going to create a reflective layer. Want to change the Fernando color to white. This is the maximum amount of reflection that you can handle with colors. If you need more reflection, you know that you have to increase the IR value. But the maximum amount of reflection that you can handle with white with color is white. Okay, so let me go to the chrome material and also create a chrome reflection layer. In chrome, again, if I select white, I will have a plastic material, so I have to increase the IR value to handle more or to achieve more reflections. So 10 for me is good. You make a preview, you have a metallic material, but I want some blurriness in my material, so let me use 0.65 in the highlight glossiness and 0.75 in my reflection glossiness to add some blurriness in my chrome material. Okay, for now let me create those material and start creating the lights. In the side view, we support all the Rhino lights with the exception of the linear lights. So we don't support linear light, but we support spotlight, omni-light, direct light, rectangular light, sunlight, and even IS light, but they are not fully implemented in this build, but I'm going to show you how to use it in the interior shop. So I want to create a light like this. You can see this line here. This line shows the direction of the light. So now I have the light in these directions. Let me change the value to 4. This option here, no decay, is very important to disable. In real life, the lights have decay. So, and I like to use store with variant maps. If you enable these options, allow you to use the variant map to calculate the light effect. So it's very cool to use that option there. You are going to have smoother shadows and your render is going to be faster. I just make a mirror to have another lights in the other area. And I'm going to change the multiplier to 5. Then I'm going to make my render to so now click render, see what we have, and then we can make some decisions. Okay, so this is a render with the scene. Now I have to correct the illumination. Is very watch out. In order to correct the illumination, I want to go to the environment and reduce the GI color or the GI light, because I want to produce more shadows with the light and less illumination with the GI. Okay. Also, I want to change the color. Usually, in order to have more aberration in color, I like to have a warm color for one light and a bluish color in the other lights. It's pretty nice. And then we click render. Basically, this is how you create a studio setup in V-Ray. There are different ways. You can create just a plane and create a big light in the background to blend the background with the floor. You can use an HURI. There are different ways, but this is the basic way how you can create a studio shot here in V-Ray. Let me show you the final image again. In this image, I have some color correction in Photoshop and also a depth of field. But again, this is very important when you're creating a studio shot, that to manipulate the angle, the camera angle, to see every single options, every single detail of your model. So if I, for example, if I have this view, I'm not seeing very good the body of my tricycle. If I have this view here, I can see very well I cannot see very well the trunk. So remember that when you are rendering a studio shot, you have to find an angle where your client can see every single feature or every single details in your model. So I think this is a good angle because you can see the handle, you can see the trunk, you can see the seat, also you can see the pedal here. So this is a good angle for a final render. Okay, and this is very basic. I'm going to spend more time in the next scene, that is the car. And I want to show you how I manipulate the scene in order to see my background or my HDRI in the viewport and just make decision based on the HDRI. Okay, I want to click to create a render just to show you what I have here. All the material already applied, so I will not talk today too much about material. After the render, I'm going to start just making decision. You know, usually you have a client, you have to meet the client requirement. So you have to make some tests to solve a small test to meet the requirement for your client. After that, then you can increase the resolution, you can increase the size of your image or your render, you can set up the final resolution, and that's it. But for now, for testing or for training, it's better to use a small resolution. Okay, this is what I have. As you see, I have all the material applied, but I need an HDRI, I need made shadows in the floor. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to use a technique that was posted in our webpage by Mika. So all the credit for this technique is for him. Okay, the first thing I have to find an HDRI that I like. So I already have the HDRI. In order to see the HDRI in your background, there are no an easy way, but if you create a big mesh sphere, basically the HDRI is a 360 image wrapped around the whole scene. So I'm going to create a sphere to simulate my 360 environment, and I have to mirror this sphere. So I'm going to mirror in order to match the background. So I have to mirror the mesh, and also I have to invert the normal because I want to see the interior of the sphere. If I don't invert the normal, I'm going to see the material in my exterior. So then click here on the material in Rhino, select basic. I'm going to create a basic material for the sphere, and in the texture I'm going to select the HDRI that I want for my environment. So it's an all, in this case it's an all whole. So I'm going to select small. Small. Now you can see, I can see my HDRI in my background, and also my car is there. But remember, this is just for the pre-visualization step. At the render time, you have to hide the sphere. So basically, I have the HDRI there. Now this HDRI in my background perfectly match my environment. So I have to go to the environment GI, and use an HDRI to illuminate my scene. So click bitmap, environment, spherical, because I'm using a spherical HDRI. And I have to select a blurry HDRI. I know that the intensity of this HDRI is not enough to illuminate my scene, so I'm going to increase the multiplier of the scene to 1.8. Apply. Now I have something to illuminate my scene. Okay, I'm going to hide the sphere and just create one render to see what we have in terms of illumination. During the rendering, I'm going to keep working with the background because I need the same HDRI in my background just to get some reflections in my model and also to see the HDRI in my viewport. So bitmap, same thing, environment, spherical, click on the M. In this case, because I want to use a really big image with really nice details to see in my background, I'm going to use a very high scene, 8,000 by 8,000, by the half, 8,000 by 4,000. So now I can increase the intensity, 1.8, and click apply. Now I have, you can see the illumination now is kind of better, but even with the illumination, I don't have anything in my background. My background is black. Now I have the HDRI. Okay, let me open the sphere again. Please remember this background right now. The background, I have this part of the HDRI in my background. As soon as I hide the background, remember I already have the HDRI in my background. Once I have the HDRI in my background, now in my next render, I'm going to see the HDRI in my background. And because I have the sphere, in this way I can match my background with my viewport, and also I can see the HDRI in my, sorry, let me make some changes here. I'll use a thumbnail. I should have enlarged this one. I'm using the thumbnail there, so my bad. Should be the large HDRI instead of the thumbnail. Okay, saying that, now I have my background, my HDRI in my GI to illuminate. Remember, the GI is what produces lights in your scene. The background is what you see in your background. See here, when I open the sphere, I have exactly the same background. So with this technique, I can match the background, so then I can rotate or orbit the car in order to match the camera and the background. The next step is to hide the floor. So I have to create a material for the floor in order to hide and just see the shadows. Again, this is another mica technique. So this is the material that I have in the floor. In the diffuse layer, in the mapping for the diffuse layer, I have to use exactly the same HDRI that I have in my background. If you use exactly the same HDRI that you have in your background, no matter if the material, if the HDRI is applied to a geometry, it will fit the background. So I have to use the same HDRI, and also I have to use environment, not texture. I have to use environment, and no matter that you have applied the material to a face or a geometry, it will fit the background. So in order to show you what it means, when I click render, And you're going to see that my floor, again, remember, this is a good example. You see everything is black because I am blocking my GI with my sphere. I have to hide the sphere. So I'm going to cancel the render and just render again. So remember, before every single render, you have to hide the sphere. The next step is just apply some transparency to the floor in order to hide some portion of the floor that I don't want it. Okay, you see, this is the render. I have some portion of the floor. It's look good, but some portion of the floor in some occasion get weird. So the best solution is just click on the transparency, click on the M, and you can use a gradients. Let me show you the mapping. So you can use this mapping to hide the border of the floor and get some shadows only in the center. Remember, in V-Ray, black means opaque and white means transparency. So if you have a black gradients, everything that looks black or gray is going to be some, you are going to see the floor in the render, but in the white area, you are going to see just the background. In this way, you can fade, you can hide and gradually fade the floor. Okay, in this way, the material is going to be texture, not environment. Click apply, and this is the floor. Okay. Open my sphere. Now you can see I have a background. Then you can rotate the car to find your desired view. Then hide the background and make the render. And in this way, you are going to match the background. If you want, then you can go to the car paint material and just change the color to have different. For example, if you want to make a red car, just change the material, the car paint material to red color, and instead of white, you're going to have a red car. So this technique is very useful to match the background and also to cast some shadows in the floor, as you see here. The good thing about the ASGVIS and the sphere is that you can change the field of view or the lens length of your scene. Let me show you. So you can decrease the length here to 18, for example. Now you have more angles in your viewport. And even with that, remember, hide the sphere again. You are going to see a beautiful render and a beautiful match with your ASGVIS in your background. So let me show you how I create some material here, especially in the headlights. Let me hide this option here. In the headlights, I create some emissive material for the bulb. I have an emissive material there. Basically, I create a glass, so I have refractions and reflections, and the top of the refraction layer, I create an emissive material to have some illumination, some light in the headlight. So you can see here in the render, no matter that you change the angle of the lens, you have the perfect match of your pupil. Some nice reflections there. Going to create another render, something like that. See how is the background? Hide the background. Another render, and the render is just perfect. So the next scene will be the interior shot. I will try to avoid using shortcut because I'm used to use a left mouse, and all my commands are programmed in the left mouse. So I apologize for that. I'm going to try to use the Rhino command.
Really?
Okay, so I think this is a pretty nice render. Next scene is the interior.
Right now we got like 129.
Basically, in this interior, I'm using the sun system. We have a sun. In order to create a sun system, you can click here in the sun icon in V-Ray toolbar. Click there, and then you can set up the position or the angle, the rotation of the sun, and also the angle of elevation. Once you are happy with your result, just click OK. Basically, the north is the Y, positive Y. South is negative Y. This is negative X and positive X in terms of your render of your viewport. So if you're in the top view, let me show you a top view. If you want the sun in this position, when I have it here, you have to click there and just from this area, from this angle, and the elevation, depending of the what you want to achieve, the date. So select the angle, something like that. Then click OK, and you can place the sun in any position. Doesn't matter in what position you apply the sun, you will get the position that you are already set up. If you rotate the sun, then you are going to change the position of the sun. But if I put the sun in this area, I'm going to have the same illumination. If I put the sun in this way, I'm going to have the same illumination. But if I rotate the sun, like that, then I'm changing the angle of the sun, and in this way, yes, I'm going to have a different illumination. So let me delete this sun, and for now, I only have the sun in V-Ray. If you're using the sun, you have to use the physical camera. So I have the physical camera enabled. My shutter speed is 100, and my film ISO is 100. This is basically the shutter speed is how much time take when you press the shutter of your camera until the camera take the picture. If you have if the shooter still open more time, you're going to have a brighter scene. If the shooter have less time, you're going to have a darker scene. So, but these shooter speeds have an invert relationship with the exposure of the scene. When I said invert, I'm saying that if you decrease the value, you are going to have a brighter scene. If you increase the value, you are going to have a darker scene. So I'm going to use 100 in my sun and click one render to see my illumination only with the sun. After that, after I have my basic illumination, when you are working with the interior, you should set up the light that with more contribution in your scene. In this case, it's going to be the sun. The sun should be very bright. So I'm going to set up first the sun. Once I'm kind of happy or agree with the exposure of the sun, I can then start adding more artificial lights. And for the artificial light, I'm going to use rectangular lights. So my intention is just create some rectangular lights in this spotlight here in the ceiling. Also, I have another spotlight in the interior of my bathroom. So I have some lights here, spotlight here. In my ceiling, in the bathroom. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to place 4 rectangular lights there. And also, let me show you the scene. Also, I want to add some lights in this area in the ceiling, and also some rectangular lights in the wall, and some rectangular lights inside the lamp to illuminate the lamp. Once I create all those lights, I should have a correct exposure in my scene. So in order to create the lights, click on the lights, rectangular lights icons. Those are Rhino lights, and create one rectangular light, the same size of your spotlight. The light is on the floor, so just move the light just right there to the ceiling, right? And in this way, I'm going to increase the multiplier of the light here in the properties of the lights. I'm going to increase the multiplier to 20, right? Again, no decay. I don't want that these lights being invisible, because I want to see the actual lights to simulate the bulb fixtures. So I'm going to let the light visible. I always use store with variant maps for the same thing that I said at the beginning, to use a variant map to calculate the light effect. Okay, that's all. So I have to create the other 4 lights where I have the lights already made. So I'm going to open the light layer. So you can see here, I have all my lights, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to create my render. With those lights, and then I can add more illumination. As you can see, I'm using light cache for my primary engine and Inversion map for my secondary engine. The best solution for interior and exterior are exactly this one, light cache for the secondary engine and Inversion map for the primary engine. I'm going to ask those questions that you're posting right now at the end of my presentation. But as you can see here, I have more light there. In this exercise, I want to use IBS light to illuminate those spotlights on the ceiling. So here I want to use IBS lights. So as I say, the IBS light aren't fully implemented. The only thing that you can manipulate is the power, but even with that you can still use it. Type in your command prompt VIS, VIS, then IES lights. You can see here VIS, IS lights. This is the command. Then type enter, and it's exactly the same thing as you control the spotlight. Just select the center of the point, then the radius of the cone, and then the length of the cone. This is the SRI. Then you have to move the SRI to the top of your light, and in the properties of the light, you can see here in the properties light, you can set up or you can browse in your hard drive the desired light. So you can click browse and select any type of HDRI. The HDRI are real light that a lot of manufacturers have the files. You can find HDRI in Sylvania, General Electrics. If you go to those pages, you are going to find a lot of SURI, IS lights. So click OK. Again, I have all the SURI already set up. So I'm going to enable the SURI light, and this is the way how I set up the light. You see here are very close to my ceiling as well, and the property for the lights. So you can change the color of the lights. You can even change the subdivision of the lights, but you cannot change the power right now. Okay, but I want to get render with those IS lights, and then I will create the rectangular light for the ceiling during the rendering. Okay, going here to top, and I have to create lights in this area, this square room, and I want to create some rectangular light here to simulate a light fixture from to the ceiling. So again, rectangular lights in the lights option here, rectangular lights, then make a square. These are my first rectangular lights. Change the view. You can see here the light is pointing down, so you have to move the light to your desired position. In this case, it's just in this corner, and also the light is pointing down. You can rotate the light, or just you can use the command, the flip command. If you type flip, then you can flip the light. So the next step is just copy or rotate or create a new light for the other three corners. You can see here I have an IS light. You can see the cone in this area of the IS light. Now I have more illumination. Now you can see the interior is getting better. I have the sun and the spotlight with IS light. You can see the brighter area here in the floor. So I need to create those lights in this area of my ceiling, pointing to the ceiling, in order to create a light effect. So again, you can rotate the lights. Type rotate the light, click copy, and then you can copy the light to this area. In Rhino, the lights are like another regular geometry, so you can scale the light using one direction scale. You can scale the light and just have the lights in that corner. Okay, I already have the lights on the ceiling, and also I have the same lights on my wall. this area. I need some lights here in this area too, so I place the lights on the ceiling and the lights on the wall. I'm going to create the next render. And the final step is just create light for my lamp. So I went here to the top view, and you can also use Omni lights for the lamp or rectangular lights. I'm going to use rectangular light, so just create a large rectangular light to cover the lamp. Move the lamp to the middle of move the light to the middle of the lamp. And then you can see here the lamp is pointing down, but we have an options in the lamp, in the lights, that you can double side. You can produce light from the front face and also from the back face as well. So enable double size, story frame mapped, no decay, and you are going to produce light to the top, to the bottom. Increase the intensity, change the color to a warm color, and that's it. This is the setting for the rectangular light. So I have the lamp light there. You can see here I have the lamp, the light there. Okay, just with those lights, I think that my interior are getting better and better. You can see the lights in the ceiling and also the lights on the wall. Very cool effect. And now to add more warming color, I changed the color of my lights to a warm color, and the multiplier is 60. Okay? So I don't have more time to explain the others. The final step is that if you want some user like to they like to create a big rectangular light on the wall. In this case, going to be on this hall to throw more natural light inside the room. If you think that you need more natural light in the render, just create a big rectangular light like this one, pointing inside. The properties of those lights should be invisible. You should disable the effect reflection in order to avoid that this light, the reflection of this light, because I'm trying to throw more warm color, more natural color or natural light. I changed the color of that light to bluish kind of color of the sky, and the multiplier is 25. So now I'm going to have a more bluish natural light inside the room. Okay. So let me show you the previous render. This is the previous render without the lamp, the lights on the lamp, and without the natural light coming from the big rectangular lights. So this is going to be the final render. After this, I can answer some questions from you guys. So let me see if I can get some. Okay, is V-Ray working parallel to Rhino from a Mac version? Right now we don't have a release version for Mac. So we are working in one version, but right now there are no version available for Mac. So why there are not large scene size than a car? Are landscape not suitable? For this training or for a webinar, I used to render a small scene just to speed up the render time, but in my final render could be the size that you want. It doesn't matter the size, so you can render. The only problem that you could have if the scene is very complicated, maybe you can run out of memory. But in our web page, we have some techniques to avoid run out of memory. What version of bitrate for Rhino is this one? This is the last one, 1.5.29. Is there a carbon fiber material in the list of material? Yes. In our web page, we have a carbon fiber material. If you don't find it, please send me an email, and I will send you the material for you. Okay. So what is the proposal to apply the HDRI to the sphere when you have to hide them in the rendering time? Okay, this is very important thing. Is the proposal is if you want to match to easy match the HDRI with the background, so you can apply the material to the sphere just to have a visual representation of the HDRI in your scene. Because if you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult just to find the correct position. Because right now, I rotate the car. You can see here, I have the car in one angle. If you want to create, to make this render with the glass behind your car, but then you don't want the car in this position, it's going to be very difficult to visualize that if you don't have the HDRI in the background. So now you can then go and rotate the car to your desired position according with your background. And it's going to be very easy to just manipulate the car or to rotate the car to get the perfect match with the GI, with the HDRI. Can you make those effects with the HDRI lights image? I'm not sure what effect you are referring. In the previous scene, you just have to use the Rhino hide function to exclude from VI. Yes, I just use hide this. So I select the. You could do two things. You could put the sphere in the layer and just hide the layer like this. Just hide the layer. I have a layer here with the sphere, so you can hide the layer, or just use the hide Rhino command to hide the background, and then right click to show the backgrounds again. Do you use light cache for both? No, I have invariant maps and light cache. The only way that you could use light cache for the primary and the secondary engine is if you want to create a progressive path trace. The progressive path trace is a technique where you don't have to worry about any setting. So you can basically create an unbiased rendering with bitrate. Bitrate is a biased rendering, but if you use light cache in both, and you have to make other setting, but you could make bitrate an unbiased render engine. Okay, how is the Rhino 64-bit version coming? Actually, we already have one internal build of the 64-bit. It's working great, but we don't have a date yet for a beta version. But yes, we have an internal build that is working with 64 bits. Will V-Ray work with this week's 32 bits? Actually, yes. I have my Rhino 5 here, and V-Ray is working fine for me in the Rhino 5. I have no issue with Rhino 5 and V-Ray. Could you repeat the rendering engine for the exterior and interior? The best solution is invariant maps and light cache for the interior and for exterior. Why? Light cache, basically light cache have more or conserve more energy in terms of the bouncing, so you are going to have a brighter interior, more bounce, more energy, so the interior is going to be better if you use light cache than if you use a DMC sample. So that's why light cache is the best solution, because the energy of the samples are more or better than the DMC. So you are going to need less effort to render an interior. Landscape rendering or big outdoor scene with a lot of tree and background image. Right now the problem is the 2 GB limitation, because Rhino for now is a 32-bit application, so we have a 2 GB of RAM with limitation. If you use a 3 GB switch, then you can have like a 3 GB. Once you hit the limit of 3 GB, the 3 GB of RAM, so Rhino crash. Change. Does the scale of the spotlight change the brightness value of the IS properties? No. The only way that you can change the power of the light is using a software called, let me find here in my bookmark, but you can find IBS Generation or something like that, so you can find, then you can use that software to control the exposure of the HDRI, because that software allows you to reduce the intensity or increase the intensity of the HDRI file. So I found that software later on. I'll let you know. Fernando, when V-Ray webinar in Spanish, it's gonna be cool, because Spanish is my first language. I promise you one day, I'm very close. So I don't know, Frank, if I have more time, maybe I can handle the question by email if you want, or it's up to you. Is HDRI image a spherical file with any bitmap image works? Yes, for the background, yes, but not for illuminate your scene. So you could not use a regular image to illuminate your scene, because the HDRI is a 32-bit image that contains illumination. The color are beyond 255 or 1 in float point, so you could have illumination because the value are bigger than that, than 1. I have a 64-bit system with Rhino and V-Ray. Does the program take advantage? Actually, V-Ray is a 32-bit application. You have up to 4 GB, I guess, 4 GB of RAM limit if you use a 64-bit, but once you meet 4 GB, then Rhino is going to crash, because V-Ray is a 32 application. But as I say, we already have an internal build of 64 application for V-Ray. So, okay. Actually, the best solution is proxy, James, but we don't know when we are going to have proxy in our V-Ray. Hopefully we can get proxy very soon, but I don't know. We have to talk with the programmers, and maybe I can give you a better answer. But for the moment, I think no, we are not going to have proxy yet. Could you set the webinar with animation? That's going to be very cool. Yes, I will do it. Does Rhino 5 and V-Ray noticeably faster, or does the new version of V-Ray Rhino will be much faster? In the new version of Rhino, of V-Ray that we have here internally, we have the new core of V-Ray, the 1.90. So, and this new core has some fixes in terms of the sampling and of the GI solution. So it's a little bit faster because the core have some improvement, but not this V-Ray that we have right now. Just the new version that we are working on. So Fernando, I'm an architect and also a Spanish speaker. I think it's a bit advanced from my skill now, but I wonder what will be the best way to catch up. Yes, I think it's my bad. I thought that everybody here have the basic in V-Ray. So you could go to our webpage and just follow some of my old webinar that I have there. And also you can download the manual and just read the manual. It's very good. It's helped me personally a lot, the manual. Or you can email me with some questions. My email is fpedrgo, Pedrogo, fpedrogo. You can email me and I will be more than happy to help you.
Okay. Well, I think that was the last question. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Fernando. Really appreciate that. I'm sure everyone found that as insightful and helpful as I did. I know. So again, many thanks to you for the presentation and everyone for joining us in this presentation of Novedge's the best of the best webinar series. If you're unfamiliar with Novedge, we're the leading online design superstore. Not only do we have the best prices around, especially on something like V-Ray, but our staff is amazing. They rock, and we're literally a chat or a phone call away. If any of you missed the beginning, or if you want to go over this webinar again, let me just show you what you can do. Switch the screen over here. So let me direct your attention to Rhino Jungle. Here at Novedge, we kind of strive to go a little bit above and beyond just providing software for CAD designers, but we actually want to kind of create and foster a community of CAD designers where you can go and get help, ask questions, stay up to date on all the latest and the greatest information, lodge issues, and also talk to trainers. I don't know if Fernando's a member of Rhino. Are you a member, Fernando?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Fernando's a member. I know Kim at ASGVIS is a member too. Brian James from Rhino, he's a member. So you've kind of got all of these gurus and cats who really know what they're doing that are on there providing tips, answering questions. It's a huge resource, but the recording of this webinar will actually be available on Rhino Jungle for your viewing pleasure soon after this webinar, probably up by tomorrow. So just head on over to rhinojungle.com. Takes 2 seconds to sign up. Really easy, really fast, and it's free. And kind of join the community of Rhino and V-Ray users. Let's see. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments about this webinar, maybe you want to suggest something that you'd like to see in an upcoming edition of Novedge's Best of the Best webinar series, just shoot me an email. My email is right there at the top of the page, frank@novedge.com. Also, if you want to kind of stay up to date on what we're doing here on Novedge and providing these free and informational webinars, just head on over to novedge.com/webinar series, and you can stay up to date on what's going on with that. Our next webinar is going to be in 2 weeks on December 1st. We're going to be going through the Vooch Enterprise Social System. So if you're interested in that, cruise on over to the website on your screen and get some more information on that. That's pretty much it. Again, thanks to everyone for coming out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, Fernando.
Thank you, Frank. Bye.
See you later.